Hello and welcome to CBS Sports HQ. I'm Hakeem Dermish. The Heisman Trophy ceremony, a coronation for USC quarterback Caleb Williams. He entered the night as a lock, and the sophomore earned 544 first-place votes to win the Heisman. Caleb Williams is the 8th player in USC history to win the most prestigious award in all of college football. In his first season at USC, Williams delivered a bevy of Heisman moments, including the Notre Dame game, even striking the Heisman pose. Unfortunately, Williams suffered a hamstring injury in the Pac-12 championship, and the Trojans lost to Utah, which ended up eliminating USC from the college football playoff. Still, it was a remarkable season for the Oklahoma transfer. Williams leading the nation with 47 total touchdowns this season, 37 passing, 10 rushing. Have a Heisman season, kid. And since 2000, a quarterback wins the Heisman for the 19th time. TCU's Max Duggan finished second with 188 first-place votes. Ohio State's C.J. Stroud and Georgia's Stetson Bennett finished third and fourth. Williams is the only finalist not playing in the college football playoff. However, he becomes USC's 8th Heisman winner, including the vacated trophy won by Reggie Bush in 2005. And it's also a win for Lincoln Riley. Williams is the 3rd Heisman-winning quarterback under Riley, joining Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Lincoln Riley becomes the first head coach to coach 3 Heisman-winning quarterbacks. That is impressive. Let's welcome in 2-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and CBS Sports HQ college football analyst Barrett Sallee. And look, this was a coronation for Caleb Williams. We knew this was going to happen, but someone also knew this was going to happen. Take you back to week 2, back in September. Take a listen.
Caleb Williams will win the Heisman Trophy this year. Right now, he's slated to be number 3 when it comes to the rankings, but I believe based on what he's been able to do in 2 weeks of play, Caleb Williams will bring the Heisman Trophy out to the West Coast.
Wow.
Yes.
You got Caleb Williams
right
winning
now.
the Heisman for USC.
Yes, I do.
3rd best odds, by the way,
yes.
To win the Heisman.
There's a lot of juice in that
C.J.
orange.
Stroud and Bryce Young.
Cash that, put that ticket in right now.
All right. BMAC says fight on. Fight on indeed. That was 3 months ago. Caleb Williams' Heisman odds were plus 310 at the time. Saturday night, he was minus 2,500. BMAC, you knew all along, my friend.
I mean, it was kind of a lucky guess, but, I felt like Caleb Williams, understanding and knowing the offense that he was a part of, also the relationship that he had established already with Lincoln Riley, we felt like they were going to put up video game-like numbers offensively, and as an individual, Caleb Williams was going to do the same thing. He just needed to stay healthy. And no question, when you look at the consistency in which he performed throughout the entire year, you talk about some of the big moments he was able to cash in on, I felt like this was an easy pick based on the favorites that were above Caleb Williams at that time. So, yes, granted, I really thought they had an opportunity to get into the playoffs, but we saw how that unfolded for them. But for Caleb Williams, man, once he made the decision to transfer out to USC, you look at some of the other transfers that followed him, along with the offensive-minded head coach in Lincoln Riley, no question, this was going to be an outstanding, entertaining year for Caleb Williams, and he was able to deliver and make me look kind of smart in the process.
BMAC, you're smart no matter what. Come on, don't sell yourself short. But no, this is not a surprise. Caleb Williams, from week 2, when you said that, I think he has been the most outstanding player in college football. And no, it did not end well. The hamstring injury, the loss to Utah in the Pac-12 championship game knocked them out of the college football playoff. But the last few words of that previous sentence are the most important because they were in the hunt for the college football playoff 1 year after an abject disaster. So that's a huge compliment to Lincoln Riley. However, it's a huge compliment to Caleb Williams to come out there and basically turn the fortunes of a program around because Lincoln Riley can call all the plays he wants. Caleb has to execute them, and he did it from the moment the season started. So he absolutely is the most deserving. He's the most outstanding player in college football. And no, the Pac-12 championship game didn't go his way, but man, that dude has some guts. He's still tried to fight through it as much as he possibly could. That shows the heart of a champion. That shows the heart of a winner. And tonight, he is the winner of the Heisman Trophy, and it's well-deserved for a really, really electric player.
Barrett, you're a Heisman Trophy voter. Take us through your ballot.
Well, I don't think it's a surprise that I had Caleb Williams number one. If you just heard me talk, I think, of course, I have Caleb Williams number one. After that, though, it was pretty hard just because there are positives and negatives to a lot of those other contenders. I had Stetson number two. I was there when they opened up the season against Oregon, gave him the keys, and he took that machine and he rode it 100 miles an hour all the way into the college football playoff, the number one seed. This is not like last year for Stetson. This is a different year, a different offense. Todd Monken trusts him. He showed that against Oregon all throughout the season, and it culminated obviously with the SEC championship. And then I put Hendon Hooker third. I kind of debated Max Duggan, but I figured in my mind anyway, if I put Max Duggan out there, I kind of a prisoner of the moment based on the way he played in that Big 12 championship game. We needed to remember exactly what Hendon Hooker did, because he got Tennessee to number one in the country. He was one of the best quarterbacks for 2.5 months. Obviously, it ended bad with the ACL injury. But when you're talking about the most outstanding player, I think Hendon Hooker, what he was able to do, how he was able to transform that Tennessee program, it was just remarkable. It's a fan base that has been extremely frustrated. For them to get excited about football again for legitimate reasons is all on Hendon Hooker. So he got my third vote, although it was tough between him and Max Duggan.
BMAC, I would go as far as saying Hendon Hooker should have been the runner-up based on the season he had. Tore his ACL in the loss to South Carolina. Barrett just laid it out for us in terms of the season that he had. Caleb Williams had a special season, but the fact that Hendon Hooker didn't even get invited to New York, I thought that was wrong. And look, no disrespect to Stetson Bennett and the number one Georgia Bulldogs, but Hendon Hooker had a phenomenal season. He should have at least got invited.
No question. I think he should have got the invite to New York. I think the injury definitely hampered those opportunities, not to mention before he got injured against South Carolina, the game was clearly out of reach. South Carolina dominated Tennessee from start to finish. Hendon Hooker didn't put forth his best effort. Heck, the entire volunteer ball club didn't play well. But regardless of that game, regardless of the injury, Barrett laid everything all out for us in regards to how important Hendon Hooker was to Tennessee this season. So yes, he didn't have a shot to win the award. But when you look at his overall body of work this season for Tennessee, a team that no one gave any glimmer of hope in regards to doing anything significant this year, they were in the national conversation throughout this season based on how well their quarterback played. For him not to be there, I do have an issue with that, but I think the committee really value, the voters really value that letdown of a performance against South Carolina, and of course he tore his ACL that same ball game.
Well, it is Caleb Williams who led the nation with 47 total touchdowns, 37 passing, 10 rushing. BMAC, what did Caleb Williams do better than anyone in college football this season?
Just consistent. You talk about the 37 passing touchdowns, over 40 total. I think he had 47 total touchdowns, led all quarterbacks in that category. You talk about only 4 interceptions, completed over 65% of his passes. He was the most consistent quarterback from start to finish. And yes, he might not he wasn't a part of the best team, but in regards of just his individual performances throughout the entire year, we saw some letdown performances from some of the other quarterbacks that made it there to New York. You know, C.J. Stroud came into the season with a lot of Heisman hope, a lot of Heisman recognition. We saw some letdown performances from CJ. The same can be said from Stetson Bennett. The same can be said from Max Duggan. But you talk about just putting the team on his shoulders week in and week out. Caleb Williams was the best in doing so. And no question, he won the award and deserving so at all.
And a lot of credit goes to the head coach, Lincoln Riley, Barrett. Even Caleb Williams said himself, he said, he taught me how to be a quarterback. And this is pretty impressive, the fact that Lincoln Riley becomes the first head coach to coach 3 Heisman-winning quarterbacks. But what does it say about Lincoln Riley in his first season at USC to coach up another Heisman Trophy winner?
Well, the system works. The system that he has developed, which is not just the air raid, but a running version of the air raid that does pound between the tackles, also relies on a mobile quarterback. It's just the perfect fit for what voters are looking for. And for a lot of them, it's video game stats. Any quarterback in a Lincoln Riley system is going to do that. In terms of value to a team, obviously, the value that he provides, that any quarterback provides in a Lincoln Riley system, is huge. And then in terms of overall success, if you're looking for how he leads a team, how a quarterback leads a team into what they want to be, if they make the college football playoff, if they make a conference championship game, obviously Lincoln is good enough to lead his teams there and put it on the shoulders of his quarterback. So I think for Lincoln, no matter what a voter values, he can check those boxes. He can make sure a quarterback checks multiple boxes on that checklist. And I think that's why you're going to continue to see quarterbacks in Lincoln Riley's system keep making their trips to New York because, like I said, they check every box, whether it's video game stats, overall team success, value to a team in terms of what your loss would mean if you were not able to play. Every single one of them deserves this kind of hype. There's going to be recognition for Caleb Williams next year. And beyond that, plenty of USC quarterbacks will be headed to New York beyond Caleb Williams.
Yeah, if you had any doubts in regards to Lincoln Riley probably being the best offensive-minded coach in college football, he erased those doubts tonight. His third Heisman winner at the quarterback position. I mean, his offenses, they do numbers, regardless if he's there at Oklahoma, of course, USC. They put up numbers. They're consistent. His quarterback played outstanding football for him. Any quarterback he's been able to lay his hands on, they've been phenomenal in the collegiate ranks. And once again, Caleb Williams has benefited from the tutelage of Lincoln Riley. If you go back to look at when Caleb jumped into the starting lineup last year for Oklahoma, we saw like, wow, this is a match made in heaven when you talk about the quarterback and the head coach. And then he followed him out to La La Land. And of course, a magical season once again. So I feel like Lincoln Riley, when it comes to offensive-minded coaches in college football, he is the Sean Payton of college football. He's the Sean McVay of college football. He's the Kyle Shanahan of college football in regards to having outstanding, consistent offenses and getting the most out of their quarterbacks.
Only player to win the Heisman twice is Ohio State's Archie Griffin, 1974, 1975. We thought Bryce Young could run it back. How about Caleb Williams going back-to-back? B-Mac, you want to make that prediction right now that Caleb Williams runs it back and wins consecutive Heisman trophies, becomes just the second player ever to do so?
Well, you know what? Since I'm pretty good at predicting certain things in regards to the Heisman, I will predict this. No question, Caleb will get another invite to New York for the Heisman Award in 2023. But I don't think Caleb Williams will win the Heisman in 2023. He will be there. He will be a top 3 type player in regards to the rankings. But I don't think Caleb Williams will win the Heisman in 2023. So if you want a prediction, an early, way too soon prediction for the 2023 Heisman winner, my winner will be Jordan Travis from Florida State.
Wow. Barrett, your thoughts on that? I was thinking maybe Drake May out of North Carolina.
I think both of those would be good. I was going to go Drake May, whether he's at North Carolina or somewhere else, and, we'll see. Jordan Travis, though, B-Mac, that's a really good pick. But I think for me, for Caleb Williams, I mean, look, there's a thing called, some fatigue with Heisman voters. I don't care if he won it this year. I could still vote for him again. There are a lot of people, though, that don't follow college football on an hour-by-hour, minute-to-minute basis who have Heisman Trophy votes. Some of them really aren't even in the media anymore. They generally don't go twice in a row for a player. I don't know if it's necessarily fatigue. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe they just want Archie Griffin to be that guy forever and ever and ever. But no, Caleb's not going to win it because there will be somebody with comparable stats. And all things being equal, if anybody's even close to Caleb Williams, that person, whether it's Drake May, Jordan Travis, somebody else, is going to get the nod. And look, that's reality. I might not like it. B-Mac, you might not like it. Hakeem, you may not like it. But that is kind of the way Heisman voters think, at least most of them. Not me. I don't care. But Bryce Young, we saw it this year. There was Bryce Young fatigue this year. I wouldn't necessarily say it caused him to fall out of the top 4, but it was there. People wanted something new, and they found it with Caleb Williams.
Well, we'll see if he runs it back. But for now, Caleb Williams, the 8th player in USC history to win the most prestigious award in college football. Men, thanks.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.